Hello everyone, we're just going to do a quick overview of the new features and how you can get to use them. So in order to enable path tracing, we first need to go into our project settings, and for starters, set the default RHI to DirectX 12. Next up, we're going to enable shader model 6. Now all of these aren't specifically linked to path tracing, but we're just enabling these things so we can get the latest and greatest rendering features running. So once we've got all of these set, we're going to hit the Restart Now button. So next up, if we've done everything correctly, if we hit this little lit section here, we are going to see path tracing. And now let's simulate a little bit of ocean and see what it looks like. So since we just launched the project, there's going to be a little bit of a stutter the first time we run this. And there we go. So let's pause this and go to our path tracing. Now it looks pretty good, but it's not as great as non-path tracing. So to get around this, we implemented a bunch of new features, and you could see them all great and set up in our new path tracing folder. So if we go to Ocean Simulation, Maps, Path Traced Ocean Map here, and we're just going to open this. And something you're going to notice off the bat is that the water looks pretty different. Now this is simulation data from our other level, so let's just hit it here. And it doesn't look that great. So for starters, we're seeing like large pixels, and the way to get around this, we just need to increase the size of our render target here to 2K, so 2048 by 2048. We don't really need to worry too much about the normal map since we're using a path tracer, and we're doing some different sort of calculations for that. So right now, the ocean doesn't look too great, and the reason for that is that the path tracer uses quite a bit of a different sort of a rendering pipeline to output things. So if we actually go into path tracing, we're seeing that our water now looks much better. So this is right now running at a 4K resolution, and basically in order to get it working, we can scroll all the way down and see that we have some new path tracing options. So for our ocean, we have use path trace normals and use path traced foam. Path tracer canvas size, if you have like really high level of choppiness in the ocean, you may need to increase this a bit more just to compensate for any possible seams that might occur, depending on basically this value over here, wave choppiness FFT. So right now, if we were to use this for something like a still image, we actually don't need to enable these, and we get quite a bit of a performance bump. But if we have them off and simulate the ocean, you'll notice that the surface doesn't really react. So scrolling down, path trace normals and foam. So because the ocean is animated, the path tracer basically kind of struggles to keep up. It can't really clean up the scene. So right now we're just gonna hit pause again and see that we have our nice subsurface scattering. Going up close, some of these textures have a little bit more pixelation right now. This is something that we're working on. And let's just set the game settings to something a bit more manageable. And we have the same tile break for the ocean. We have some really nice path traced reflections, soft shadows, and everything. On the material side, we basically have a couple of new settings, and these are these. So use path traced foam and path traced normals. Next up, if we go to FFT foam, this is basically the same parameter will control the foam strength, the normals for the path tracer. It's just that right now we have quite a different value to what we normally have. Normally we'd have something like 0.9, but again, the path tracer uses quite a bit of a different rendering pipeline. So have a look at the values that we're using for various effects here and build upon from these. If you've created a scene that looks really good in the standard deferred renderer, chances are the water is not going to look too great in the path tracer. Next up, we've also improved path tracing for our other actors, like the lake map. And now if we were to open it and let just everything, all the shaders compile correctly, we're going to notice that we've pretty much gotten rid of the seams in our lake actors. We've done some improvements on that front. And just to get the best possible visuals, essentially if you type PET into whatever material instance you're using, if there's a PET displacement, just enable it and things will look better in the path tracer. For example, if we disable it right now, we can get a little bit of a horrible seam here. But enabling this pretty much eliminates the issue. Next up, just something you should be aware of is that because of the way that materials are animated, like the longer the path tracer renders, like the normals just kind of get blended out. When rendering out scene, this will not really be an issue. Finally, we have also improved path tracer in our water sim actor. So if we go to our water sim map and we go into path tracer view once again, we have some PT foam so right now if we were to hit play and move our character and generate foam and waves, we could go out into the editor and see it in action with the path tracer. We can just pause the simulation and everything is working pretty much as expected. There will be some minor visual changes in the way that the foam looks, but that is kind of to be expected when working with a completely different renderer. Ultimately, this is something that you can end up with. This is a pretty good path traced scene that we have with Dynamic Ocean. It's still something that we're working on actively, so probably shouldn't base massive projects around this, but right now it's pretty good for rendering still images and fairly simple animations.